system in CAT. What I have done is that I have taken all the questions from previous year CAT papers, the actual CAT papers. So I have taken questions from CAT 2003 till CAT 2008, and we'll be discussing those questions in detail now. So each and every question would be discussed. So as all of you would be knowing that number system is quite an important topic as far as quantitative aptitude is concerned. So apart from algebra and geometry, this seems to be one of the most important topics, and the biggest reason being that number system is one area which is common to all the topics. So basically, if you are doing a question from algebra, you cannot say that number system would not be used over there. So it's an integral part of each question. अगर मुझे ये नहीं पता कि integers क्या होते हैं, probably I would not be able to answer some questions in algebra also. So it talks about the types of numbers, it talks about their divisibility rules, their factorization, HCF, LCM, and all those things. So we'll move on to the questions now. What I'll be doing is that I'll show you the question. I'll give you 1 minute or 2 minutes to solve that question, and after that we'll discuss that question in detail. Okay, so I'll move on to the first question now. So first question would be from CAT 2008, and I'm giving you 1 minute 30 seconds for this question. So I hope you have done the question now. So let us discuss it. The answer to the question, I think most of you would have got it. The answer is between 5 and 8. Actual value is actually 7. So how to solve such questions? It says a shop stores X kg of rice. The first customer buys half of this amount plus half a kg. The second customer and third customer does the same. Thereafter, no rice is left in the shop. So which of the following best describes the value of X? So generally we attempt these questions starting with X. That let us assume initially X kg was there. Half of this is taken, so half is remaining. And from that half, another half kg is taken, so X by 2 minus 1 by 2 would be remaining. From this X by 2 minus 1 by 2, again the next customer takes half of it, so that becomes half of this. And then again he takes half a kg. So it looks like a cumbersome equation to us. So a better way of solving such questions, and in many such questions we can do this, that you work backwards. I mean, what happens at the end? If you look at the end, no rice is left in the shop at the end, so ultimately 0 kg of rice is left. And this 0 kg left after the third customer has just went, and the third customer took half of the remaining amount plus half a kg of rice. So 0 was left when he had taken half the kg. That means before that half was there. That half was remaining when he had taken half of the total amount. And if half of the total amount is taken, obviously half would be left. That means before that 1 kg was there. That 1 kg was there when the second customer had went and third customer just came in. So second customer had taken half a kg before that. That means before it 1.5 kg was left. And this 1.5 was left after taking half of the total. So therefore before that 3 was left. 3 was left when first customer had just taken half a kg, so before that it was 3.5, and 3.5 was left when the first customer had taken half of the total amount. That means initially it was 7. So it's a bit confusing because sometimes we talk about half of the total and sometimes we talk about absolute half kg. So this half was left when he had taken absolute half kg, and this was there when he had taken half of the total amount. So in this case, half and half, they were both same, but here you'll see the difference. So 1 to 1.5, there is a difference of 0.5, but 3 to 1.5, there is a difference of 1.5, because this 1.5 is actually half of 3, and this 0.5 is absolute 0.5. So therefore, from here, working backwards, we get the answer, and the answer is 7, which is second option. So I hope that everyone got it correct. So we'll move on to the next question now. Next question is again CAT 2008 question, and again you have got 1 minute and 30 seconds for it. Let's start working with this question. I see that Siddharth Agrawal has already answered to this question, and he has answered correctly. The answer is option 3, that is 781. So let's look at the question now. Integers from 1 to 40 are written on a blackboard. The following operations is repeated 39 times. In each repetition, any two numbers, say A and B, currently on the blackboard are erased, and a new number A plus B minus 1 is written. What will be the number left on the board at B? So one of the ways is that, and this works well in most of the competitive exams, that I can take any random number, let's say 1, 2, 3 and 4. So what if there are only 4 numbers? So first student will come, he'll let's say erase 1 and 2 and he'll write a plus b minus 1. So 1 plus 2, that is 3, and 3 minus 1 becomes 2. The next one would come, he'll do 2 plus 3, let's say 2 plus 3 minus 1, that is equal to 4. Next one will come 4 plus 4, 8, 8 minus 1 becomes 7. So sum of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 was 10, but finally the number left is 7, which is 3 less than this. Similarly, if I take 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and I do the same, however sum of 1 to 5 is 15, but after doing this you will find that the final sum of all the numbers left is 11. So here there is a difference of 3, here there is a difference of 4. The difference of 3 is there because there are 4 numbers. The difference of 4 is there when there are 5 numbers. So if there are 40 numbers, my answer must be sum of all 40 numbers, summation 40 minus 40 minus 1, the way it is happening over there. So summation 40 minus 39 should become the answer, which is 781. But we'll try to understand the same logically also now. So when I do a plus b minus 1, what actually I am doing is, however, adding all the numbers 1 to 40 will give me 40 into 41 divided by 2, that is n into n plus 1 by 2. And this is equal to 220, 20 into 41 is 820. But whenever a person comes, he actually reduces sum of two numbers by 1. Then the another person would come, he'll again reduce the sum of two numbers by 1. So if 39 people will come, actually they will reduce the total sum by 39, each one of them reducing it by 1. So the final sum would be 820 minus 39, which is equal to 781. So therefore my answer becomes 780. So let's move on to the next question now. I hope this is clear to everyone. So now question number 4. Okay, so for this question, the time given to you is 2 minutes. Are over, and I see that Siddharth and Abhishek Srivastava answered it correctly. The answer is option 5, that is equal to 55. So it says, suppose the speed of speed, it should be seed, I think. Seed of any positive integer n is defined as follows. It says seed of n is n if n is less than 10. That means if n is a single digit, and otherwise it is seed of n, where Sn indicates the sum of the digits of n. And he has given you an example also. So this example says that seed of 7 is 7 because it's a single digit. But if it is not a single digit, you have to add the digits. So basically it is trying to say that you'll keep on adding the digits unless you get a single digit. If it is 248, you'll add 2 plus 4 plus 8, which gives us 14. It is still not a single digit. So we'll do 1 plus 4 now, which finally gives us a single digit as 5. This is also called digital sum of a number. There is something called digital sum and there is something called sum of the digits. So the difference between sum of the digits and digital sum is, digital sum says keep on adding the digits unless you get a single digit number, and sum of the digits says sum of the digits straight away. Like for 248, sum of the digits is 40. So when we say, the question says how many positive integers n are there such that n is less than 500, will have seed n is equal to 9. Let's take a number. So first of all these numbers has to be 9. For 9 the sum of the digits has to be 9 itself. Now the next number is 18, for which sum of the digits would be 9. The next number is 27. The next number is 36. You can find out. These are all multiples of 9 because this actually is the divisibility rule of 9. The divisibility of rule of 9 is the same. So if I have a number 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's say, and if I have to divide it by 9, how would I do it? I'll add all the digits. 2 plus 4, 6 plus 5, 11 plus 6, 17 plus 7, 24. To divide 24 by 9, again I'll add 2 and 4, this will make it 6. So finally my answer would become 6. So in a way, according to this question, we can say the seed number of 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 should be equal to 6. When he says seed number of n should be equal to 9, this means the number is a multiple of 9. So the question says how many multiples of 9 are there till 500? And if you have to find out the multiples of 9, just divide 500 by 9. This gives you 9 5s are 45, 9 5s are 45, 55 point something. That means there would be 55 numbers which are divisible. I hope this is clear. And now we'll move on to the next question. The next question is question number 5, and you have 1 minute for it. More time because there is some disturbance going on, so we are trying to get that done. Okay, look at this question now. What are the last 2 digits of 7 to the power 2008? If we say 7 to the power 1 is 7. 7 square, that is equal to 49. 7 cube is 343. If I just look at the last 2 digits, they are 43. 7 to the power 4 is 2401. And just because of this 01, you again have got 07 in 7 to the power 5. 7 to the power 6 would be again 49. 7 to the power 7 will be again 43. 7 to the power 8 will again give you 01. So basically, for 7, it actually works in 2 digits as a cyclicity. However, we know that the cyclicity of 4 for 7 if we talk about the unit digit. But in case of 7, even there is a cyclicity for last 2 digits, and that cyclicity is again 4. So if we divide this power 2008 by 4, we see that it is completely divisible. So for every power which is a multiple of 4, we'll see that the answer will be 01. So answer is option 3. Okay. So this was an easy question. Let's move on to the next one, which is question number 6. And for this question, you have got 3 minutes. It's a good question. So you can hear me. Where are you? Some disturbance going on, so wait for a minute, please. Question. So this question says, consider 4-digit numbers for which the first 2 digits are equal and the last 2 digits are equal. And how many such numbers are there? So I think not many people got right answer to this. So basically it's asking you the numbers of the type A, B, B, and the numbers should be a perfect square. So the first thing that comes to our mind is it's a 4-digit number and it's a perfect square. So a 4-digit number and which is a perfect square, it definitely should be less than 100. Because 100 is the first number whose square is a 5-digit number. And it must be greater than 30, I should say, because 30 square is 900. 40 square is 1600. 31 square will be 961. And 32 is the first number whose square is a 4-digit number. So this number must be lying between 32 and 100. That's the first thing. Now there are 2 ways of solving this question. One of them is that AABB type of number, can I say by just looking at the number that it must be a perfect square? Sorry, it must be a multiple of 11. For example, let's say I have a number 2255. So if a digit repeats itself, iska matlab ye hai, it has to be a multiple of 11. So 22 is divisible by 11 as well as 55 is divisible by 11. That means the whole number must be divisible by 11. The same is also true for, let's say, 33, 77, so on and so forth. That means the whole number is a multiple of 11 and we know it's a perfect square. That means it must be a square of 33, 44, 55, 66, 77, 88 or 99. So we have got only 7 numbers out of which the square should be there. So even if I calculate square of all these 7 numbers and find out that how many of them have a square of this type, even that would work for me. And some of them we can easily eliminate. For example, 55, you know, its square is going to end with 25. So similarly for the other numbers also, but it needs a bit more knowledge about the squares. So we do it in generally Vedic mathematics. There is one topic. So there we discuss these things. For example, a number like 44. So what will be the last 2 digits of the square of 44? There is a simple logic for this. How far 44 is from its nearest multiple of 50? We see it is 6 away from 50. So its square must be ending with 36. Similarly, 33, when we say 33, 33 is 17 away from 50. So its square must be ending with 89 because 17 square ends with 89. Similarly, 66, it is 16 away from 50, so its square must be ending with 16 square, that is 56. Similarly, 77 square must be ending with 29, 88 square, 88 is 100 minus 12, and 12 square ends with 44, so this must end with 44. and 99 square ends with 01. So if the last two digits of a number are same, it must be the square of 88 if it has to be there. So if we calculate 88 square, this gives us 7744. That means there is only one number whose square will be of this type. I repeat this concept. This concept says if we have any number, let's say I take a random number 287. So what are the last two digits of 287 square? When we have to find out the last two digits of a square, we are just concerned about the last two digits of that number. So ultimately 2 is not important. And 87, how far 87 is from its nearest multiple of 50, that is 100. So it is 13 away, and 13 square ends with 69. So we can straight away say 87 square or 287 square will end with 69. So the moment we see that AABB type of number has to be there and it is a square, that means the last two digits should be the same. And if we see the last two digits should be same for which square, it is either 12 square, that is 144, or numbers like 10, 20, 30 where the last two digits are 0, 0. Now a number like 0, 0 ending with 0, 0 can be straight away ruled out, because if a number is a perfect square and last two digits are 0, 0, the first two digits should also be a perfect square. That means 2500 is a perfect square because 25 is a square. 3600 is a perfect square because 36 is a square. 4400 cannot be a square because 44 is not a square. So ultimately it depends upon the first two. And if first two digits are equal, that can never be a square, because a multiple of 11 having same digits is not a square. 11, 22, 33, 44, those kind of numbers. So ultimately we have got only one number, and that number is 88. So our answer would be option 4. So I accept it's a bit tricky question, but in info like this, that a number must be divisible by 11, brings us to only these 7 numbers. So it is not very difficult to calculate squares of 7 numbers and find out that how many of them are of this type. So I hope this is clear now, and we have got no disturbance. This is the good news. So let's move on to the next question. Probably we'll be able to continue the session well now. So the next question is a 1-minute question. Start. It is an easy question. I think should have been answered till now, and Mohit Gupta has answered it correct. The answer is option 1. That is 1. It says consider the set S which contains 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 2n plus 1. That means the last number has to be an odd number, and we are starting from an even number, where n is a positive integer larger than 2007. Define x as the average of odd integers in S. So x is the average of the odd integers. That means 3, 5, 7, 9, so on and so forth up to 2n plus 1. And y is the average of even integers in S. So y is the average of 2, 4, 6, 8, so on and so forth. Then last even integer has to be 2n. That is the number before 2n plus 1. The question is asking you what is the difference between x and y, and these are the averages. So however, I would say this is a question of averages rather than number system, that each and every number in y series is 1 less than each and every number in x series. And when you decrease every number by 1, the average would also decrease by 1. That means y has to be 1 less than x, and therefore x minus y must be 1. So an easy concept, and we have used it many times. For example, we do age type of question, that there are suppose 5 members in a family and their average age is 42. So what will be the age next year? So we know it will be 43, because every person will grow old by 1 year. So हर आदमी की एज 1 साल से बढ़ेगी, my average will increase by 1. हर नंबर 1 से बढ़ेगा, my average will increase by 1. Every number will decrease by 2, my average will decrease by 2. So this works like this. And here you will again see another thing, that the first line is given that the value of n is greater than 2007, which is a redundant data. So probably they have given it only so that a student cannot check by putting the values of n. Otherwise, it would be very easy question if it is not given. I put n is equal to, let's say, 5 or 6 or 2 or 3, whatever. So that would have made the question simple. So it's a redundant data, but it is just to confuse the students. Okay, so let's move on to the next question now. That is question number 8. Question number 3. And it's a good question. I'll give you 2 minutes for this. So we have got 3 answers till now, and unfortunately all 3 are different. So, and the 4th answer is also different. It just came. So let's look at the question now. We'll decide which is the right answer. So in a tournament there are n teams, T1 up to Tn, with n greater than 5, and each team is consisting of k players where k is greater than 3. The following pair of teams have one player in common. then how many players are participating? So let's take that because n is greater than 5, I am assuming n is equal to 6. There are 6 teams. Because k is greater than 3, I am assuming k is equal to 4. So basically there are 6 teams, and in each team there are 4 players. So let's say in the first team the players are player number 1, player number 2, player number 3 and player number 4. Because T1 and T2 should have one player common, let's say that player is 4. So the other 3 players are 5, 6 and 7. 2 and 3 must have one player in common, let's say that is 7. So next 3 players are 8, 9 and 10. Similarly now 10 is common, so next 3 are 11, 12 and 13. Similarly 13 is common, so next 3 are 14, 15 and 16. And next is 16 and 17, 18 and 1, because Tn and T1 should also have a player in common. So I'm taking that player as well. So the total number of player here is 18, which is nothing but 6 into 3. And that 6 into 3 is n, which is 6, into 3, which is k minus 1. So my answer would be n into k minus 1, that is option 5. So here again in this question, however, I can attempt this question by taking let's say some general values of n and k, and by doing that also I can answer it. But it will save my time. And again here you will see that n is given as greater than 5. Even if it was 4 or 3 or even 5, it would not have made a difference to my answer. But still they have tried to make the logic or the approach a bit lengthy, that the student अगर इस तरीके से भी करता है, it will become lengthy for them. So here our answer is option 5. So I see that Tushar is saying that why there are 2 players repeated in team 6. So Tushar, you will see that T1 and T2 will have one player in common, and T1 and Tn will also have one player in common. That means 5 and 16 should have a player in common. Similarly 1 and 6 should have a player in common. So 16 is also repeated and 1 is also repeated with them. So that basis, and it has happened with each and every team, not with the T9 or T6 only. With the second team also you will see that 4 is common over here and 7 is common over here. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. And for this question you have got 3 minutes. It's a good question. Okay everyone, I have given you around 20 seconds more for this question. So I have got 2 answers from Siddharth and Neelab. The answers are option 4 and option 2. Let's see what is the right answer. The question says, 10 years ago the ages of the members of a joint family of 8 people added up to 231 years. So there are 8 people and their total age was 231 years 10 years ago. 3 years later a member died at the age of 60 years. So can I say, because this was the age 10 years ago, that is 231. So 3 years later, that means 4 years ago. A member died at an age of 60 years, that means from this 231, 60 would be reduced. But before reducing the 60, can we say that 24 would have been added, because in these 3 years, total age of 8 members would have increased by 24. And a child was born during the same year, that means the child's age would be added, that will be 0 at this time. And then he says after another 3 years, that means after 4 years ago, again the same thing happens. So again 60 would be reduced, again 24 should be added and 0 should be added. So the question is asking you the current average age of the 8 members. So 4 years ago this was the total story, and he is asking you the current age. That means in this total we'll also have to add 32, that is the total age increased in these 4 years, from 4 years ago to the current year. So now if I calculate this, 231 minus 60 plus 24, that is 231 minus 36. Again this minus 36 happened, that is minus 72 and plus 32. So in total it reduced by 40, it became 191. So the current average must be 191 divided by 8, which is 23.875. And he has asked you it is nearest to what? So it must be nearest to 24 years. So my answer is 24 years. Now let us look at another approach for this question. 10 years ago the total age was 231. So can I say that the average age 10 years ago was somewhere around 29? It was 28.875 to be precise. So let's take it 29. 29 was the average age 10 years ago. Had nothing happened, that means this member would not have died, the child would have not have been born, and again this average would have become 39 today. 29 increased by 10 would have become 39. But what happened actually? A member died at an age of 60 and a child was born. Can we assume that there was one member whose age suddenly decreased by 60? There was one member whose age suddenly decreased by 60 and became a child. So practically it looks a bit impossible, but we can assume it for a question. कि age suddenly 60 से decrease होके 0 हो गई है and the man has become a child now. Now when one of the numbers decreases by 60, my average should decrease by 60 by 8, that is 7.5. So the change in my average should be 7.5. And because it happened again, that means the total change in my average age of 39 should be 15. That means the current average age of the family should be 39 minus 15, which is 24 years. So this will save our time in solving the question. Now, I'm assuming a modification in the question that had it been given that a member died at an age of 60 and a child was born, let's say, after 2 years of this. And again, a member died at 60 and again a child was born after another 2 years. What would have been in that case? So here when a member dies at an age of 60 and a child is born after 2 years, again, practically it might be impossible, but we can assume that the same year a baby was born at an age of -2. That means it is going to be 0 after 2 years. In that case, the net change would be -62. So the change in average would be -62 by 8. And similarly again, so in that case we would have reduced that number from 39 and that would have given us the answer. I hope this is clear to everyone. So let's move on to the next question. So time for this question is 2 minutes. Okay everyone, so I got only one response in the first 2 minutes, so I increased the time to 3 minutes. I think it takes time to count the number of days in the month. It says the price of Darjeeling tea in rupees per kg is 100 plus 0.10 n. So 100 plus 0.10 n, and here the value of n is up to 100 only. And the price of OTT is 89.0.15 n, and here your n is less than or equal to 365. So price of OTT increases throughout the year, but the price of Darjeeling tea increases only for the first 100 days. So on the nth day of 2007, the question says, on which date will the prices of the two varieties be equal? Now we see that because in case of Darjeeling tea n is less than or equal to 100, that means in 100 days the price would become 100 plus 0.10 into 100, that means 110. And after that it will be constant, because now n is not changing, because n was up to 100 only. It is written over there that now it remains constant. So it will remain 110 now. And the price of OTT is increasing throughout the year, so there should be some stage where 89 plus 0.15 n should become 110. That means 21 should be equal to 0.15 n, or my n should be equal to 21 upon 0.15, which means this is equal to 21 upon 15 divided by 100. So 3 7s are 21, 5 and 20, this gives us 140. Yeah. So 140 is the number of days after which it would be same. So how to calculate the days now? So in January we have got 31 days, because it is 2007. In February we have got 28, March is 31, April is 30, so this all adds up to 120. That means for May we'll have to talk about 20 days more, so the answer is second option, which is 20th May. Okay, so let's move on to the next question now. It is TET 2006. On this sheet you have got 3 questions, so for these 3 questions I am giving you 5 minutes because the questions are easy. So let's start. Okay guys, 5 minutes over. So let's come to the first question. X is given as minus 0.5, then which of the following has the smallest value? So X is a negative number, first of all. So option 1 says 2 to the power 1 by X. Because 2 is a positive number, so whatever power of 2 you'll take, it has to be positive. Second option is 1 by X, which must be a negative number because X is negative. 1 by X square has to be positive. X square is positive, 2 to the power 1 by X is positive, 1 by X is negative, 2 to the power X again has to be positive. The same reason as in option 1. and option 5 is again minus x to the power 1 by 2. Minus x will become plus 0.5, and this also would be a positive number. So out of these 5 options, only second is negative, so small s has to be option 2. So our answer is 1 by x. Second question. So which among 2 to the power 1 by 2, 3 to the power 1 by 3, 4 to the power 1 by 4, 6 to the power 1 by 6, and this is the largest? So we all know that these are surds and cannot be calculated. You cannot calculate the value of 3 to the power 1 by 3 or 4 to the power 1 by 4. But what we can do is, if you look at the powers 1 by 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12, so they all divide 12. So let us do one thing, take power 12 of all of these numbers. So 2 to the power 1 by 2 taken a power of 12 will become 2 to the power 6. Similarly, 3 to the power 1 by 3 taken a power of 12 will become 3 to the power 4, and similarly 4 will become 4 cube, 6 square and 12 to the power 1. So 2 to the power 6 is 64, 3 to the power 4 is 81, and it is again 64, 36 and 12. So the largest among them is 3 to the power 4. That means largest among them is 3 to the power 1 by 3, and our answer should be option 2. Taking a power 12 of all the numbers will not change my answer. So do not think this way that because we have taken power 12, in that case 3 to the power 1 by 3 is largest. But what if power is not taken? Larger the number, larger would be the value of the number to the power 12, and smaller the number, smaller would be the value. So answer becomes second option. Let's come to the third one now. If a by b is 1 by 3, b by c is 2, c by d is 1 by 2, d by 3, a by f is given, then what is the value of abc divided by def? So ABC divided by DEF. So one of the ways is, how can I calculate A by D? Can I say A by B into B by C into C by D will give me A by D? Because A by B into B by C into C by D. So B and B will get cancelled out, C and C will get cancelled out, and we'll get A by D. So 1 by 3 into 2 into 1 by 2. This gives us the value of 1 by 3. Similarly, if I multiply these three terms, b by c, c by d, d by a, this will give me b by e. And similarly, if I multiply these three terms, the last three, this will give me c by f. So the value of b by e would be nothing but 2 into 1 by 2 into 3, which will be 3. And the last one would be 1 by 2 into 3 into 1 by 4, which is 3 by 8. So ultimately 3 and 3 will get cancelled out. Ultimately we'll be left with 3 by 8 only. So answer is option 1. There's another way of doing these questions, that we can say if a by b is equal to 1 by 3, that means if I am assuming b as 3, a must be 1. Second option says b by c is equal to 2, that means b is double of c. So let's take b as 6. If b is 6, so a should be 1/3 of this, that means a should be equal to 2. And if b is 6, then c should be half of this, that means c should be equal to 3. Now if c by d is equal to 1 by 2, from there I can get the value of d also. Similarly, if d by e is 3, I can get the value of d. And similarly, from here I can get the value of f. So by putting the values of a, b, c, d, f, again I can get the answer. But I think the first approach is easier than the second one. So we'll go by this. So let's move on to the next slide now. The next slide contains 2 questions, and for these 2 questions you have got 3 minutes. Okay everyone, I have given you 3.5 minutes for these 2 questions. I think first is a bit tricky. So let us first talk about the first question. A group of 630 children is arranged in rows for a group photograph session. Each row contains 3 fewer children than the row in front of it. What number of rows is not possible? And the question itself says what number of rows is not possible. That means I'll have to check by the options that which of them is not possible. Let's start with the first option. Let us assume there are 3 rows. In the first row there are x number of students. So in the second row there would be x minus 3. And in the third row there would be x minus 6. So the total number of students in these 3 rows is 3x minus 9. And this should be equal to 630, which means 630 plus 9 should be a multiple of 3, which it is. So that means it is possible. So option 1 cannot be the answer. Now had there been 4 rows, so rather than taking a row over here, let us take a row above x, and suppose that row contains x plus 3 students. So that this 3 and 3 will get cancelled out. We have got 4x minus 6 is equal to 630, and this gives us 636 should be a multiple of 4, which again it is. So option 4 also, 2 option cannot be the answer. If there are 5 rows, let's add another row before this, that is x plus 6. And when you add all of them, 3 and 3 will get cancelled out, 6 and 6 will get cancelled out. We have got 5x is equal to 630. And 630 is a multiple of 5. So this is also possible. This also cannot be the answer. If there are 6 rows, add another row either here or here. This time let's add over here. So 6 and 6 will get cancelled out, 3 and 3 will get cancelled out. We have got 6x minus 9 is equal to 630. And in this case, 639 should be a multiple of 6, which it is not. That means my answer is option 4, which is equal to 6. Now there is no need to check even option 7. Because if 6 does not satisfy, 7 will have to satisfy. So 6 becomes the answer. Let's come to question 5. What are the values of x and y that satisfy both the equations? So obviously we have a general method that we can compare the powers of 2 and powers of 3 and find out the values of x and y. But in this case I would say that put the values of x and y straight away from the options. So you can start with any of the options. I feel that second option is a bit easier. The second equation is a bit easier because here we have got 8 and here we have got 4 to the power 0.3x. So 4 to the power 0.3x means 2 to the power 0.6x. And if 2 to the power 0.6x is 8, that means 2 to the power 3, so x must be 5. So there is only one option which contains x is equal to 5 and my answer would be option 5 and C. So however, I again say that the general method is to make equations. एक equation x में बनेगी, एक y में बनेगी, we solve it for x and y and we get the answer. But options are quite helpful for us because in the question we have got 0.7x and 0.3x, so options like 2.5 or 3 they generally get put out in these cases. So here 5 becomes our answer. So let's move on to the next slide now. So question number 6 and question number 7. Good questions are there. So I'll give you 5 minutes for that. Question number 6. The sum of 4 consecutive 2-digit odd numbers when divided by 10 becomes a perfect square. Which of the following can possibly be one of those numbers? So let us assume 4 consecutive odd numbers as x minus 3, x minus 1, x plus 1 and x plus 3. You would have done this concept during AP series. So there generally we do this, that whenever the numbers are in AP series and we are given their sum, so we take the numbers as x minus 5, x minus 3, x minus 1, so on and so forth, such that these will get cancelled out. So if I add all these numbers, the question says the sum of all these numbers should be 10 times a perfect square. Because this divided by 10 should be a perfect square, that means 10 times a perfect square. So 3, 1, 1 and 3 get cancelled out and we get 4x is equal to 10 times a square. Now this p square must be the square of an even number, because had it been an odd number, so 10 into an odd number can never be divisible by 4. Also 10 into p square, the total value of this must be greater than 40, rather even more than that, because value x in any case cannot be less than 10, otherwise these numbers would become 1-digit number, whereas the question says there are 2-digit odd numbers. So the first perfect square, which is even and which makes it greater than 40, is 16. So if I take p as 4, this total will become 160 and my value of x will be 40. If value of x is 40, the numbers are 37, 39, 41 and 43, and we see that one of these numbers is there in our options, so our answer is option 3 straight away, which is 41. I hope this is clear to everyone. Now move on to the next question, that is question number 7. When you reverse the digits of a number, of the number 13, the number increases by 18. How many other 2-digit numbers increase by 18 when their digits are reversed? So basically if I am assuming a 2-digit number as AB, which can also be written as 10A plus B, the reversed number would be BA, which means 10B plus A. The question says the difference of these two numbers, this minus this, should be 18. So 10A minus A will give us 9A plus B minus 10B, that is minus 9B. So 9A minus 9B should finally become equal to 18, which means A minus B is equal to 2. So for all the numbers for which the difference between those two numbers is equal to 2, in those numbers you will see that this would happen. So one of those numbers is already mentioned over here, which is 13. Now here you will see the difference between them is 2, therefore it satisfies this property. So the other numbers of this type can be 24, 35, 46, 57, 68 and 79. Basically all those numbers in which the digits differ by 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 numbers are there, because there was one important point over here. The question said how many other 2-digit numbers are there. So one of them is already mentioned in the question, which is 13, and apart from 13 the other numbers are, there are 6 numbers. So I'll say the answer is option 2 in this case, which is 6. So I hope you got it now. So let's move on to the next question. So next question, it's an easy question, take 1 minute for it. Okay, and easy question, everyone would like to have this question in their CAT exam. The number of employees in obliques managed company is prime number and is less than 300. The ratio of the number of employees who are graduates and above to that of the employees who are not can possibly be what? So one thing is very clear, that the first number and the second number, they should add up to a prime number, because the total number of employees, they are in prime numbers. So in the first option, if I say 101 plus 88 is 189, which is a multiple of 9, not a prime number. Second option is 87 plus 100 is 187, it's a multiple of 17, not a prime number. Third option is 110 plus 111 is 221, which is 13 into 17, again not a prime. Next is 85 plus 98, which is 183, which is divisible by 3. So again not a prime number. So the only number which is possible is 97 is to 84, because they add up to 181, which is actually a prime number. So this time my answer would be option 5. So it just requires a simple knowledge whether how to check whether a number is prime and how to check whether a number is composite. So let's go on to the next category now. So now we have got questions from CAT 2005, and the very first week we have got 2 very good questions. So I'm giving you 4 minutes for these 2. So let's come to question number 1 first. So I see that Mohit Gupta has got right answer to both the questions. So first question says 16 cube plus 17 cube plus 18 cube plus 19 cube. There is a property that will be used over here. That property is a to the power n plus b to the power n is divisible by a plus b if n is odd. So here we see that n is odd, that means the power is odd, which is 3. So 16 cube plus 17 cube should be divisible by 16 plus 17. Similarly, 17 cube plus 18 cube should be divisible by 17 plus 18, so on and so forth. So for any combination of 2 of these 4 numbers, you can say so. So we'll be making a combination of these 2 numbers and these 2 numbers, because both the pairs add up to 35. So 16 cube plus 19 cube should be divisible by 16 plus 19, that is 35. Similarly, 17 cube plus 18 cube should be divisible by 17 plus 18, that is 35. So sum of these 2 numbers is divisible by 35. These 2 is also divisible by 35. So this whole number should be divisible by 35. So this reason is not sufficient to say that it is divisible by 70. 2 numbers are divisible by 35, so 35 can be taken out common from them. Now whether it is divisible by 70 or not, to check that, I see that x is an even number plus an odd plus even plus odd. So there are 2 odd numbers and 2 even numbers. 2 odd numbers will also add up to an even number. That means all our numbers are even numbers and they will all add up to even number. That means it's a multiple of 35 as well as it's an even number. That means it's a multiple of 2. So it must be a multiple of 70, which makes it, the answer is 0. So it should be divisible by 70 in this case. Let's come to question number 2. In a chess competition involving some boys and girls of a school, every student had to play exactly 1 game with every other student. It was found that in 45 games, both the players were girls, and in 190 games, both were boys. The number of games in which one of them was a boy, the other one was a girl. Let's say there are A number of girls and there are B number of boys. So the number of matches among the girls, each of these A girls will play against each of the other A minus 1 girls. That means the number of matches would be A into A minus 1, but I'll have to half it, because in each game 2 players are involved. For example, if there are 3 girls, A, B and C, so A will play against B and C 2 matches, B will play against A and C 2 matches, C will play against A and B 2 matches, in total 6, but matches are only 3 because in each game 2 players are involved. So a into a minus 1 by 2 should be equal to 45, which says a into a minus 1 should be equal to 90. So product of two numbers which are very close to each other, rather consecutive numbers, is 90. So it is visible that the number should be 10 and 9. Similarly, in the case of boys, we can say that b into b minus 1 divided by 2 should be 190, or b into b minus 1 should be 380. Again, two consecutive numbers, multiple is 380, that means 20 and 19, which shows there are 10 girls and 20 boys. So the number of games between girls and boys would be nothing but 20 into 10, which is 200. So our answer is option 1. So good questions. Let's move on to the next slide. And this has got another 2 good questions. So you have got 4 more minutes for this. So not many answers to question number 3. We have got 2 right answers to question 4. The digits of a 3-digit number A are written in reverse order to form another 3-digit number B. So let's assume number A is ABC. So number B is CBA. And he says that number B is greater than A. That means straight away C should be greater than A. So and B minus A is perfectly divisible by 7. So ABC can also be written as 100A plus 10B plus C. And B can also be written as 100A plus 10B, 100C plus 10B plus A. The question says B minus A. B minus A should be divisible by 7. If I subtract A from B, 100C minus C will be 99C, 10B minus B is 0, and A minus 100A is 99A with a negative sign. So this must be a multiple of 7. We can take 99 common. It says C minus A should be a multiple of 7. So if 99 into C minus A is a multiple of 7 and 99 is not a multiple of 7, that means C minus A must be a multiple of 7. And because C and A are single digits, that means C minus A should only be 7, nothing else. And there are 2 possibilities for this. Either C is equal to 9 and A is equal to 2, or C is equal to 8 and A is equal to 1. So either the number A, B, C would be of the type 2 something and 9, or it would be of the type 1 something and 8. So these are the 2 types of numbers that can be formed over here. That means either 209, 219, 229, because B can be anything. The answer is independent of B. Similarly, 108, 118, 128, so on and so forth. The smallest possible number is 108 and the largest possible number is 299. So the range which covers both of these numbers is second option. So my answer is option 2 for this. I hope this is clear to everyone. So move on to question number 4. The rightmost non-zero digit of the number 30 to the power 2720 he is asking you. So I can break this into 3 to the power 2720 into 10 to the power 2720. This will give you all zeros. But the question is asking you the non-zero digit number, so which will be coming from only 3 to the power 2720. Now using the cyclicity of 3, we can say whenever the power of any odd number is a multiple of 4, the unit digit will always be 1. The only exception is 5. If a number is ending with 5, whatever power you take, it will end with 5. Otherwise, every odd number, whenever raised to a power which is a multiple of 4, it ends with 1. Similarly, every even number, whenever raised to a power of 4, ends with 6. Again, the exception is 0. So otherwise, here my answer would be 1 because it is the power of 3. So answer option would be option 1. So let's move on to the next slide now. It's a good question. So I'll give you 3 minutes for it. Okay everyone, so it's a tricky question. So we got the right answer from Neelav, I think. It says for a positive integer n, let Pn denote the product of the digits of n and Sn is the sum of the digits. The number of integers between 10 and 1000 for which Pn plus Sn is n. That means product of the digits plus sum of the digits should be equal to the number. So let's start with a 2-digit number. Let's say AB is a 2-digit number. So according to the question, the product of the digits, that is A into B, plus sum of the digits, that is A plus B, should be equal to the number, that means 10A plus B. Here B in B gets cancelled out, and again by taking A common, you can cancel out A from both sides. It says B plus 1 is equal to 10, so B is equal to 9. So finally we get a value which is independent of A. That means whatever the value of A is, if B is 9, it will satisfy this property. So the numbers are like 19, 29, 39 up to 99. For all these numbers you will find that the product of their digits plus sum of their digits will be equal to the number. For example, if I take 29, product of the digits is 18 and sum of the digits is 11, so 18 plus 11 is 29. So this is about the 2-digit numbers, but what about 3-digit numbers? So let's take a number in the series of 100 to 200s, a number like 100 and something. So even if the other two digits are 9 and 9, still the product of the digits would be 81 and sum of the digits will be equal to 19 and the sum becomes 100. So that means this number can never be equal to product plus sum, because if the number is lesser than 199, the product of the digits would be less than 81, sum of the digit would be less than 19, and they can never add up to a 3-digit number. Similarly, if the number is 200 and something, let's say the number is 299, the product of the digits is 162, sum of the digits is 20, it does not even go into the series of 200. Similarly, if I talk for 300, this will keep on decreasing. So it can never be equal to those numbers. So I'm getting a query from Mohit Gupta who says, what about 20, 30, 40? Mohit, in case of 20, let's say, product of the digits is 0, sum of the digits is 2, which is not equal to the number. So this also cannot be the case. And it has already been cleared by this case here. So therefore, the only numbers that are available, they must be from the double-digit numbers, not the triple-digit numbers. So therefore, our answer should be 9, that is option 4. So let's move on to the next question, next slide. And I think we can take it as a last slide, which contains 2 good questions. So for these 2 questions, I'll give you 5 minutes, and after that, we'll close the session. So we have got the right answer for question 6, that is answer option 1, which is equal to 9. And for question number 7, the answer is option 4, which is 1. I think we got the right answer from Deepak Bhasin. So let's start with question number 6. S be a set of positive integers such that every element of S satisfies these following conditions, and every digit in N is odd, and how many elements of S are divisible by 3? This range says that every number will have the first 2 digits as 1 and 1, because between 1000 and 1200 you'll have numbers starting with 1 and 1 only. However, there are numbers starting with 1 0 also, but he says all digits are to be odd, so 1 0 cannot be taken. So we'll start with 1 and 1 only. So first 2 digits are 1 and 1, and the next 2 digits must be odd, and this total should be divisible by 3. As we see that the first 2 digits add up to 2, plus because the other 2 digits are both odd, that means the sum has to be an even number. So 2 plus an even number should be a multiple of 3. So I see that that even number can either be 4, 2 plus 4 will become a multiple of 3, or that sum can be 10. 10 plus 2, 12 is a multiple of 3, or that sum can be 16. These are the only 3 possibilities that can arise from here. So if sum of the digits is 4 and the digits are both odd, so they can be 1 and 3 or 3 and 1, 2 possibilities. If the sum of the digits is 10, then they can be 1 and 9, 9 and 1, 3 and 7, 7 and 3, or 5 and 5, that is 5 possibilities. And last case, when sum of the digits is 16, they are 9 and 7 and 7 and 9. So 2 cases from here, 2 cases from here, and the numbers from here, that they are 5. So 5 plus 2 plus 2 gives us a total of 9. So answer would be option 1. So I get a query from Tushar who says, what about 1005? Tushar, 1005 number is not having all digits odd, because second condition says that every digit in N is odd. So therefore 1005 would not be considered. So answer would be option 1 only. I hope this is clear now. So let's move on to next question, that is question number 7. N is 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 up to N, that means it must be N factorial, I think. For integer N greater than equal to 1, if P is equal to 1 factorial plus 2 into 2 factorial plus 3 into 3 factorial, so on and so forth, from 10 into 10 factorial, then P plus 2 when divided by 11 factorial leaves a remainder of 1. Now one thing is very clear in such question, that he is not asking you to add up all the numbers and divide by 11 factorial. So you are not supposed to do the complete thing. So you'll have to find out some logic behind it and then answer it. So either do it by induction. Let's say I go up to only 2. So 1 factorial plus 2 into 2 factorial. 1 factorial plus 2 into 2 factorial gives us 4 plus 1, 5. So if this is p, then p plus 2 will become 7. And this is to be divided by 3 factorial. 3 factorial means 6. We get a remainder of 1. Similarly, if I take 1 factorial plus 2 into 2 factorial plus 3 into 3 factorial, so this value will be 5 plus 6 3s are 18. 18 plus 5 is 23. If 23 is p, p plus 2 will be 25. And 25 divided by 4 factorial in this case will give us a remainder of 1. So every time it will give us a remainder of 1, so answer should be option 4. However, there is a general way of doing this question also. That is that I can write this as 1 factorial plus 2 into 2 factorial can be written as 3 minus 1 into 2 factorial. 3 into 3 factorial can be written as 4 minus 1 into 3 factorial, so on and so forth. You will see that it will become 1 factorial plus 3 into 2 factorial, which is 3 factorial, minus 1 into 2 factorial, that is 2 factorial, plus 4 into 3 factorial, that is 4 factorial, minus 1 into 3 factorial, that is 3 factorial. So these terms will get cancelled out every time. 3 factorial with 3 factorial. In the next time you will have 5 factorial minus 4 factorial. So 4 factorial with 4 factorial. So ultimately you will be left with only the figure which gives us a remainder of 1 in this case. So finally the answer to this question will also be equal to 1. So here we come to an end to this session, and I hope all of you have enjoyed it. So if you have really enjoyed, write things in the comment section. I'll assume that you liked it. Right? Okay, thank you very much, and good night to all of you.